Hey, welcome to What's the Story? My name is Janice Hermsen, and I am your host. And I am here today with both my co hosts, Ed Knoll and Doug Ashby. Welcome, guys.
Hey, welcome and happy Tuesday to you.
Yes. And Doug comes to us from from the fire world. And not only is he really from the fire world, because that's what he used to do for a living, but he's been through two different situations of having the fire threatening. This time it wasn't quite as bad, though, right?
Oh no, this was, the last fire, if there was anything good about it that that you can glean from that, is that the way that the wind blew on the east, south, and the west side, it burnt right up to the development and then stopped.
Right.
Well, what that did for this fire that was yesterday, it created a big barrier for us. So it couldn't, really couldn't get there to us.
I thought you retired. Right? It looks to me like you've chosen a second career in firefighting.
And if you're watching us, you can see this box that we have here, and you'd think he was being really nice and he brought us donuts, right? Yeah, not so much. These are leftovers because the firefighters are the ones that really got the donuts.
Did you see that post he had? Doughboys Donuts at my house. And posted the address.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Former fire chief.
They know.
Yeah.
You know what? And that is one of those kind of disabuse things because I always thought that policemen favored donuts over firemen.
They do.
Well, maybe I was wrong.
Wait
That's
a second.
funny.
That was a very complex sentence there.
You did have to think about it. I saw that.
Do they have eating contests like the Joey Chick would of firefighters and policemen eating donuts? Like who could eat the most jelly donuts in a minute?
Yeah. Oh, no, what? I said that one time I was in standing, waiting for my car to get washed, and there was a couple highway patrolmen that were, and I looked at him and I said, "What are you doing? A car wash? My goodness, I thought you'd be at a donut shop."
Oh.
Oh boy, you should have seen the necks, the vein of their neck was like, come on, guys.
Well, right. I've never met a highway patrolman that was like, I don't know, 22, right? They're all about 21, right? They're all really young guys, the clean, look like the military Green Beret.
Well, just a little excerpt from my book. When I was arrested by the highway patrol, through a series of events that just, showed you that they really don't have too much common sense. But yeah.
Don't hold back, Doug.
Yeah, well, what they lock you up for?
Read the book, Heroes and Giants, by Doug Ashby.
Yeah.
No
What?
joke. No joke.
But you realize they just don't have a funny bone. And one of the things that happened to me, I was working out in our desert area and I pulled over. There was a young lady. It was about 110 degrees out there, and there was a young lady. She was sitting over on the berm next to her car that had broken down. And I thought, oh my goodness. So I pulled over, went over and talked to her. She's crying and this and that. And I said, I'll help you out here. Well, there's nothing I can do. This is a, highway patrol deal. So I called our dispatcher and I said, give me a highway patrolman here. And they said, fine. And, I'll be there in a few minutes. And I thought, you know what? And I really dislike highway patrolmen, California highway patrolmen. And I am
Good qualification.
Yeah, good qualification.
So
Here's his license plate number.
here this California highway patrolman pulls up. Just like Ed said, he's probably no more than about 25 or 26. He's got a big smile on his face. He says, "Hi, how you doing?" This bazillion bits of information just went through my mind, and I thought, if I treat this highway patrolman anything but with respect, who's the jerk here? You
Aw.
know, and so anyway, I talked with this kid, and he was so happy to be a highway patrolman. He had a job, and I was just proud of him. You know what? I mean,
He threw you in jail for that?
No, he probably had 5 or 6 years before he became a jerk.
Absolute power. And I don't think Republicans are immune.
Oh boy.
Right? People.
So you've heard the word of the day already. You may not know it, but you did hear it. It's disabuse. And disabuse, to free from a falsehood or misconception.
Doesn't that sound like it should be a hyphenated word?
Not necessarily, but it does. It's a weird word to use.
It's
That's
a
for sure.
word after
Yeah.
my own heart. I love double negatives, right? I don't like disabuse. How come I don't know this word? And so I've taken it on today to wear it.
Oh, yay.
I used it in my vernacular today at work.
Oh, I'll bet they loved you for that.
What? What? Are you cussing at me?
That's funny. He probably did ask that question.
You know, I was looking at the word here and the synonyms for them. There's 3 of them that start with the same same word, I guess. Dis, meaning I guess.
Prefix, maybe.
Yeah, prefix. That's
Yeah.
the word I was.
Best I know, there was a time where dis was a word all on its own.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And it still stands.
It does.
I think.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
So you want to go with our
Oh, sure.
synonyms as
well,
long as
here we
you're
go.
going there right away.
Disillusion, undeceived, correct, enlightened, wake up. I don't know if that
Not a
belongs there.
synonym,
No,
yeah.
actually it does, but
But it's 2 words. That's not a synonym.
yeah, that's
That's
true.
a phrase. That's not
Yeah.
a synonym.
Disenchant, set straight, set right.
I don't know. Deceived is about as
How about
close.
this?
Yeah, I think that's the best.
I like that. Open.
So
the
you
eye-
guys want to
open
hear
the
who
eyes.
the director of national intelligence, director of the CIA is going to be?
Sure.
John Ratcliffe. He just
He showed-
Ratcliffe. Sorry,
He was
He
on
just
that
announced.
short list that I've seen.
Yeah, John Ratcliffe will serve as director of the Central Intelligence Agency. So
Awesome.
he just announced it. I saw it on Truth Social. It popped up on my screen. So there you go. That's one little announcement for today.
I love to see the activism that is evident. It looks like it's happening, right? Trump is ahead of the game. He's been there, done that. And now he shouldn't have anyone jacking around his confirmation of his cabinet, right? And so they should be able to get started.
Silly boy. Yeah.
What? It's a majority Republicans.
Well, Janice and I were speaking with each other a little bit before the show started, and I thought, to me, what happened on Election Day, it didn't make me happy that Kamala lost. It didn't really make me happy that Trump won. What just made me absolutely elated was the fact that the news media finally got their nose rubbed in it. And I think that's just awesome.
Yeah, but they don't think they did.
Oh, I don't know. Listen to.
So do you see them change? Are they changing?
Well, do you see them running all over Washoe County trying to interview all of us like they did before? I haven't seen that reporter that I talked to.
That's right.
I don't think any of the people that are here have seen that reporter that we all talked to.
I mean, Nevada news, as I kind of thought would happen, was irrelevant.
Right, right.
Well,
Even though,
we were in the shadow of it, basically.
Right. It was done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thought that would happen.
so as I generally do, I need to talk about my, hang on a second, I got to find it here. I want to talk about my, what do I want to talk about? Sorry, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. Honest, I am. I know you guys think I'm old, but I'm not that old.
I
Getting there.
I don't think you're old.
Getting there, but not quite. Let's see. Okay, here it is.
That's pert near, but not plum.
Pert near, but not plum. All right, very good.
You know what?
sound
There's
like
a good word of the day. Pert near.
Oh, I think plum is way more interesting, but yeah.
All right. So I was highlighting this stuff so I could put it on. Is it over? Or excuse me, it's over. Or is it? So here we are, elections. A report in the New York Times about the races in the House states, aside from a handful of very close races that have come down to the final ballots, most of the races in Western states where counting is expected to continue for days. And I believe this report from the New York Times was, I don't know, a couple days after the election. So maybe the 7th, maybe even the 8th. Well, let's see what's going on today. So let me stop sharing this one and go back here, and I'll just walk you through my little process here.
I was going to say, I think that maybe we could have people counting that were from outside our educational area.
Well,
they
look
didn't
at
go
this.
through K through 12 here.
Check this out, gang. Look at what
they are
happened.
counting
They are
fast and
counting
furious.
and counting and counting. Yeah, fast and furious. Is that what that is?
Get the camera kind of zeroed. I bet there's some ballots under the shelves.
So here
on
we
the
are,
floor.
7 days later, and Washoe County is still counting. I did look for a Clark County. I know the other counties are done. We have 17 counties in in Nevada. And Washoe is the second largest, which we had 251,000 ballots turnout.
And they talk about paper. One person could have counted every ballot.
Lenore and I said that we could sit down and I could do the daubing and she could do the calling and we could be done right now.
No, you could be. And so it's
in a week.
So what are they messing with? There is more at play than the count. It just appears that way.
Well, it does. And one of the things that occurred, and I'm going to stop sharing the screen, but yeah, this is what's going on in Nevada, at least in Washoe County. You can see the lovely folks. And if you look over here where my cursor is, that right there is the booth where people observe. So here's the room, right? You can see this. This is the room here. And this stuff back here, I don't believe you can see this from this booth. But they have cameras in there. So, but you can sit at home and do this too, right? So this is where the observers have to sit. They can't go out on the floor. They can't see much of what's going on, especially way over here. But this is where the observers have to sit. How much of observation can they really be doing from that room? You'd be surprised how much they can see, but not what should be allowed for observation, for true observation.
I don't when we talk observation, I go to, I don't know, the old TV shows where they had the operation in the room and then there was a foyer up on top where people would come in and look down, right?
Right. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That's what they should have, and they should build them that way.
Well, they already redid this whole room a couple of times.
But I mean, to me, that way you can see everything. You got a bird's eye view. Yeah. I mean, why? What are they hiding?
That's what you asked.
I mean, that's the thing.
That's what you asked.
It's crazy.
There was, this is going to probably show my age a little bit, but there used to be a TV program that was called Love American Style. Do you
remember that? Show my age too.
It was right. Yeah.
They had a great jingle too, like us.
Yeah. Well, they had a skit on there, and it wasn't, there was no verbiage to it. Excuse me. And it fits really with what we're talking about right now. The scene opens where a guy is in bed with his girlfriend. Well, you see from off to the side, obviously the wife of this guy walks in, and she is just, you don't hear anything, but you can see her lips, and she's just giving her husband hell. Well, the woman gets up, gets out of her side. The guy gets up, gets out of his side. They make the bed up, pat the pillows. He sits down on the bed, and the only words that were ever spoken in this, he looks at his wife and says, "What on earth are you talking about?" That's exactly what we're going through now. What are you going to believe? You going to believe me or your lying eyes?
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's an interesting analogy. And only Doug could do it.
I gotta say though, it does work.
It does work. I know. I was surprised it did, but it did.
Went down some trails, but I think it worked.
It's the weave, like Trump says, right? He did the weave. He got you there. I like it, Doug.
You know something else about Trump. Has anybody noticed, or maybe I'm just looking for it? Is the president-elect, is he looking a little more presidential now?
I don't know.
I don't how
I don't know what that means.
And so I think this is funny, and I love President Trump, but has President Trump ever had a picture without 27 flags in it? Right? I'm just saying, he's never, right? I mean, there's like 5 on his jacket, and there's 10 behind him.
They
Seriously,
always have a lot.
he is into symbolism, and he I mean, the American flag, he's probably been pictured more than the American flag, but they're in it together.
They are in it together. You're right. It's pretty funny. I don't think I've ever noted that, verbally, but yes, I have observed it. And it is interesting. I often count how many flags are there, right?
I wonder
how many
who
on the
cleans,
stage
I was
this
going to
time?
say who cleans them, right? Because those babies are sparkling red.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't beat it, and the symbolism is awesome, and So what can I tell you?
I think he's an expert at it. I mean,
Well,
President Trump.
one of the things that I just recently heard or read, I can't remember which, about Trump is when he was first president, he was very naive when he went into Washington.
He said
D.C.
that, yeah. He said that.
Yeah, and now on his second term, he's had not only 4 full years as president, he's had 4 full years of trying to be president, and now he's going in to be president. He is seasoned. He knows how it works back there.
Well, I think we, can judge him. I'm excited to judge him on his 4-year term. Let's see what gets done. And I'm excited by the opportunity. I was speaking to Jan earlier about, my brother's getting near retirement age, and I'm in that, I am retired. I work part-time. But those of us in that space potentially could get Trump 4 years. And if it's really good, we get Vance for 4 or 8.
Well, I want to address that because go ahead.
Well, it's just the opposite. My story, Biden and Obama, Great Recession, Trump comes in, bada boom, bada bing, Biden comes in, all goes away again.
And I think I want to address that too, because I know that there are people that say that they did not notice that change. I'm just sharing. I'm trying to do the other side of this, right?
You know who they work for? Government contractors. Government contractors.
They might.
I'll
have to ask.
We have to get government under 50%.
Right.
It should be 25.
Right.
It's 51.
Well, we were going to talk during this segment, maybe a little into the next one as well, about Elon Musk and his role and
exciting.
Bobby Kennedy and and I haven't heard that what's her name? Tulsi Gabbard, that she's going to be doing anything.
I haven't heard her,
I haven't heard her doing anything.
Elise Gal got the UN ambassadorship.
Right. Okay, so before we go off the topic of what's going on in Nevada, because I want to share this one as well. I want you to see, okay, so here's the voter turnout from the Secretary of State's office, and I have Washoe. You can see right here, this is Washoe. And your total turnout is 251,626, I guess, as of whatever date this particular,
minute, you mean?
This very minute.
What time is it?
Yeah. And it supposedly is, and I say supposedly because I just don't know, 75.31%. So you're telling me 75% of registered voters turned out. I don't know. Are we all that?
That's way high.
It's very high.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. What are you saying?
They had that 4 years ago too, and before that, it was pushing 90%.
Right. 2022.
And it can't be right.
General election. Now it's not a presidential, but it's 64%. So you're telling me that 11% more of our population decided to vote in 2024, and yet if you look at the overall numbers, the number of voters is less than it was in 2020 across the country. It's like, I don't remember how many million less, but it's less. Because remember, Biden won 81 million votes and
That's right.
Trump won 70 some. Well, she only got 60 some million and Trump got 70 some million. So somewhere in there, we're missing some millions.
Well,
I guess some of them have to come from Nevada, right?
Well, they were saying a lot of it was the urban malaise, right? Folks just didn't get out and vote, right? The turnouts were lower there.
Then
I
why
get
do we
it.
have so many Democrats that won in the other races, down ballot races?
So I'll
That's the
say,
question.
well, in Nevada, you're talking about?
Yeah, Nevada and a lot of states, Arizona.
I think a lot of states.
Well, not Arizona.
I think a lot of states. I think that it was certain when they were going to get the Senate, right, because of Tester and West Virginia Manchin seat. But the House was unknown, and the House going red shows that I think more folks voted red than blue, but some folks did survive.
But down ballot races, especially in Nevada, seem to all have gone blue.
They always seem to.
Yeah, they do always seem to. It made you think that we were a blue state.
So best I know, we still are, right? Because after you wipe away the core of blue folks, there's still blue folks. There's no red folks behind them.
I don't understand. That makes
See, and you were
Makes
taking
no
What I'm saying is, if we pose a question to the government and we have to take it to a higher authority or don't get satisfaction, you're going to someone else who's a Democrat too, and that's why you can't get
you're
through
evading.
it.
You know, you're going all around this. You're going all around this question.
That's
instead
that's why we're blue. Nobody red makes any decisions that matter in this state. The governor's virtually not around.
Well, we could go on all day about that.
Right? I
but
mean, the
I'm not gonna.
legislature, I mean, we're still living what they packed on us in COVID.
Well, anyway, so in our turnout report, I just wanted to mention that we, so far, as of today, 251,626 in Washoe County. If you're in another county or you just are curious, you can go through here. Here's Clark. Clark is over 1 million. And they're only at 69%.
So look at that down there, though. It says 14.8 total turnout.
That was the primary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the primary, 1 million. Yeah. Oh, that's the active registered voters, too. Total turnout was 207,000. So they only had a 14% turnout. So I get it that primaries are different than the general election, but that's a very notable difference in percentages, right?
I think so. I mean, anything seems like my whole life, right? 45 was ungettable,
That's right.
right? Ungettable,
Yep.
right? Even in the best years, you'd get 38.
Yeah.
So where that doubled all of a sudden and is cool, I don't know.
Yeah, in Clark, they only had 51% in 2022. And again, they're going to say it's because it's not a presidential election.
They needed every ounce of everything they
Yeah.
got.
Yeah, so I presume they're still counting in Clark County as well because, Clark is bigger than us. I mean, if they're not counting, then what in the heck is Washoe doing?
Well, I was going to say, if you fly in United or Delta, are you allowed to vote?
I'm not sure.
Right? You can come in, vote, and leave right there at...
There's a lot of stories around that. A lot of stories around that. So again, there is Washoe. Take a screenshot. There it is. And,
Let's look at, can you look at a rural county? Pick Nye County or
Nye
something,
County?
since we have some...
Yeah, Nye County,
Knowledge.
total turnout, 78%.
So I got to say that's probably...
26,000.
I'm going to say, I'm going to give them credibility based on our history with them.
Right. So they have a population of 33,000 that are voters. And they're saying that 26,000 of them turned out. It'd be interesting to kind of look at those voter lists and see how it compares to the last.
Well, right, 4 years ago, because
Yeah.
one would think that rural voters would be more motivated.
Well, we have Elko, which has a similar population in registered voters, 26,000, and their total turnout was 21,600, which is 82%. It's just still a lot.
Why would rural county people be more motivated?
because we don't really have a Republican Democrat society. We really have an urban rural. When you look at the country, right? I don't know of any rural areas that voted blue.
Well, here's an
Right.
interesting one. Esmeralda, they have active registered voters of 622. 452 of them voted.
That's
But,
awesome.
yeah, but there should be a little asterisk there. What they aren't telling you is all of them are related.
Well, and they can be
very
older and they
possible.
can be all kinds of things, right? But what you were talking about motivating them, when I was talking to my son about President Trump and Camilla and that whole, how you vote and what are you feeling kind of thing and going down that. And my son, who's 20, got down and finally said, Trump's just cool.
Really?
He did. Trump never lost his wow coolness factor. And he has for me, right? I mean, I see him as a worker, right? He's our savior kind of thing.
I can think of a lot of adjectives to describe Trump, but cool isn't one of them.
No, I wouldn't have thought of that either.
So do you not think, I think, growing up in New York, his father, Rich, and we've talked about it before, man, I grew up in a small town. If they had a camera on me at all, man, I wouldn't be president. He had money, he had wealth, and he didn't get himself in trouble.
Right.
He survived when, I couldn't.
Yeah.
So he is cool.
Well, and they did attribute, I don't know if you heard an interview with Laura Trump. She was saying that Barron had a lot to do with the interviews that Trump did with the younger audiences and the different podcast hosts that they chose. And there was apparently they hired somebody. And when he went to Trump with who it was they wanted him to see, and he says, "Have you talked to Barron?" And he said, "No." He says, "Talk to Barron, then I'll talk to you." So he used him, and that's saying a lot for that you trust your
Barron's
son
been
that
on
much.
he's been a top Google search, right, for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So lots of young people, likely young ladies. How old is he? Right.
I think he's 18. Isn't he?
Oh, Dad being president. That's probably a shabby life.
I don't know what happened to him. I was, expecting to look on the internet and see this little kid. He's the tallest of the group.
Yeah, 6'10", is he?
It's ridiculous.
He's 6'10". Where
Yeah.
did that come from?
I'm pretty sure it's genetic.
Oh, okay.
Growing pills? I don't know. I'm not sure. His dad always talks about how tall he is, right? Oh, he's really tall.
It is, right? There was the old being a nutrition major. I mean, most like you, Doug, and me, we're taller than our parents because of nutrition, Wonder Bread and fortified stuff. But now, I don't know what it is, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we
yeah.
should be all caught up on all that stuff.
That's pretty funny. All right. So if you have any comments, be sure to jump in here and comment and tell us what you think. And be sure to subscribe to my hermson.substack.com. I think I forgot to say that when I was showing my screen there, but hermson.substack.com. Love it if you would subscribe and let me know what you're thinking. Make comments on there. You can make comments here if you're on Facebook or YouTube. Rumble, I still don't have that attached, so I'm sorry to my followers that tried to, a couple weeks ago, I think, tried to put some comments on there and said, I'm the only one commenting, what's going on? So sorry about that. And you wanted to share more about disabuse, our word of the day. I see you looking at your dictionary there. Ed always brings his old, I can't remember what year that one is.
I forget, 57 or
Yeah,
something.
I knew it was
something
50-something.
Like I just am so angry at myself for not understanding or knowing our word disabuse, right? So I was, when I got the word, a couple of things rang to me. And today on the news, the news media is ridiculous, right? I mean, they're like those bubbling clowns following people, right? You know where they're going. But they came out and said, the Republican Party is now of the people. It's the People's Party. And I remember when Trump ran in 2016 and talking to my nearly 100-year-old grandma at the time. And, she lived in a rust city, and my grandfather retired from the steel mill, and the Democrats bailed them out back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, right? And she said Democrats were the party of the people.
Well, I think that
And they were,
They were,
right?
yeah.
But that came to mind when I saw this, because since 2016, Trump's been of the people. The Democrats, it's the same with their African American policies. They say all kinds of stuff, but their actions are nil.
Well, and the thing is, the Republican Party, at least I know for sure in Washoe County, has changed, because the Republican Party, 4 or 5 years ago, is not the same party as it is today, at least in Washoe County. And I'm not sure about Clark. I think that's also changed.
I was going to say in
degree.
Washington, it's not for sure, right?
Yeah.
And we got, for instance, Trump, Mitch McConnell retiring, Nikki Haley.
Well, you've heard
part
about
of
that fight with.
Well,
the-
right. Those
yeah.
folks are all on their way out now.
Yeah,
And
but there's a fight for the leadership, and there are a couple of candidates apparently that are not real keen on Donald Trump. And
No,
so it's kind of weird. Why would you hire a majority leader for the Senate that is not keen on who the president just got elected to be?
because the
That
one
doesn't
that
make sense.
because what's his face is a little goofy. Rick is goofy,
I
right?
certainly don't think I'd put that on a resume.
What, goofy?
Here's something I plucked off the internet this morning when I was reading, and this comes from 2024 elections. Democrats lament that they didn't listen to the working class well enough. The Democratic Party is still seeking a way forward after last week's decisive defeat. Well, they keep blaming on something others, I think, other than
Show me a policy that they had that helped working people. I mean, it's as simple as that. There aren't any to me.
well, that's true. That's true. But the thing
But
of
this-
it is that the most accurate thing that I have heard so far or read is the fact that the American public, with this, I'll say 90 days of running for president, Kamala, that the people realized that they weren't being told the truth, that the media and the Democrats were lying to them. And look at the last week of the stuff that came out of the Democratic Party that wasn't retorted by the press. Oh, he's a Hitler. Oh, he hates democracy. I mean, you name
I
it.
think it's so awesome that he's working on his campaign promises. He did what he promised last time. Had she won, she wouldn't have done any of her campaign promises, and she could have had a magic wand, and she couldn't have achieved where he's going to be able to achieve, I believe.
One of the things, by virtue of the fact that do you think that honesty ever comes up in the same sentence with Kamala Harris? Because
I'm not going to
she-
answer that.
when they tried to interview her, she never took a position because she knew it'd be contrary to what her actions were.
So, but in life,
And
as
people, but you know what, with all of that, and what I try to, anybody to listen say, the Democratic Party owned the news media.
Well, they still do.
Hook, line, and sinker.
and they always will, best I could
I
tell.
don't-
But
I don't
speaking
know. I
about
think
this,
that's
so
changing.
I'm going to share my screen again, and just so in case you don't know who this person is, hang on one second, let me get there. This is Alan Lichtman, who had a 90% rate of success as far as being able to predict who was going to be president.
He was the one that's done 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So is that 90%?
Yeah.
Is my math right?
It is today.
I don't know. It might be racist.
You didn't go to Nevada schools, did you?
I did not. So he predicted that Harris would win. And interestingly, he then came on here, and I'm not going to play this, but he explained his incorrect prediction. So I did listen to it. And every single, he has little points that he uses, or I forget what he calls them, but he has like markers, right, that he uses to say, okay, this is a predictor, this is a predictor, this is a predictor, and then he analyzes them to come up with how key predictions, or key, I don't know, key markers, let's just call it that,
Okay.
for now. Anyhow, but the thing is, he was going through each one, and I was listening, and he would tell you what it was, and then he analyzed how he came up with the thing. Well, what was so interesting is his markers are great. It was his analysis
Was not.
because he's biased
Yes.
toward, the liberal thought.
He didn't see.
He didn't see it. And I listened to him and his son during the after it was over, but I listened to them going through the predictions and watching the races come in, and I mean, you could just see them. They're like, what? How could that happen? What happened here? And by the end, the poor guy was just like beside himself, in head and hands and the whole thing. I mean, you had to almost like feel bad for the dude, because he really believes what he's saying. And as I said, when he was doing this, he was analyzing it, but I could have said, "Oh, you know what? You're wrong about your analysis. Your marker's great,
Right.
If he
Right.
really understood the overall population, but he only understands a portion of the population, so he just couldn't do
So,
it.
yeah,
There's no way he could have
it's-
been right with this one.
That's the urban thing, right? The
Yeah.
people in the media markets, right? Rural folks. I mean, on
And the
the
media
on
is
the
the same
weekends,
way.
I may throw my phone down for 3 days.
But the media is the same way, Ed. The media is the same way. They are so biased toward
But
their
they're
side.
urban. They're the same, though. I think there's that urban where the people are.
Yeah.
They sway them
Yeah,
or influence them.
No, they think they are.
but as
No, the people in the cities, they do. The people on the outsides are contrary to that.
Yeah, yeah. The first rule of solving a problem is to identify the problem. And that's exactly what you're talking about, Janice, is the fact that he was so steeped in his thoughts.
he was, yeah.
He couldn't identify the
He
problem.
couldn't.
correctly.
He couldn't see the forest for the trees, as they say, right?
right,
I
yeah.
mean, he just couldn't. There was just no way. And when you listen to him, if he was really viewing the population the way the population truly is, he would have been right. But he wasn't seeing it. He didn't see how I looked at things or how you looked at things. I mean, he just couldn't see it. And his poor son was the same way. I mean, the two of them, and you could just see them. It was so frustrating to watch.
Well, it's interesting. We all get into causes, but I think, too, there's a certain amount of people that just want to vote for someone who wins. They're not ideological. Right. And that's every election.
Yeah, that's true. And then there are the low information voters that just look at a sign and say, what is it? Oh, last one I saw said, say yes to that. So yeah, I'm going to do yes. Right. I don't know. Or somebody, or they do the celebrity thing. The celebrities say this, you should vote this way, and they vote. And
So when they
there's a
bring
lot
out,
of that.
don't you I don't know, just from over time, when a celebrity comes out, talk about something, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. There's a flaw with it. Go the other way.
That's what's called the golden halo. No, it really is. And, you say, well, it's not real complicated, because you did hit the nail right on the head. You take one of these luminaries, a guy that's in whatever, a shoot 'em up, but say James Bond or whatever.
None of those guys went for her. It was Beyonce. That was the problem. Had they had Clint Eastwood, they might have pulled something off.
Right. Everybody loves him. He's got the golden halo. So if he says it, it has to be true.
Well,
You know,
I'd like to think our population is smarter than that.
Janice,
You are
they
so
just-
kind. You give
they
people way
just
more credit than
proved-
I do.
They just proved that they can divorce themselves from this BS. They got tired of being lied to by the Democrats and by the press.
Right. Well, and I also believe that this is about the economy. Our economy is horrid. And
How can, all right, just take that for instance. Our economy is terrible. You go to the store and you try to buy something, and it's reinforced that the economy is terrible. but I'm going to vote for her.
Well, we got to go to the disabuse, right? Because this is a time. So Biden, who was like, "Oh, the rich, we got to tax the rich." His party's full of the rich elite. That's who voted for him, like the only people that voted for him.
I can't tell you the number of fire stations that I sat in, whole group of guys, they'll, when you're a chief officer, they always look to you. And I would listen to them, and they're the basic rule in there, let's get the rich. And finally, when the smoke clears, I say, guys,
So smoke cleared.
one of the things that you're missing.
What were they smoking?
Did you put that fire out?
One of the
Sorry.
things that you guys are missing, the Democratic Party thinks everybody in this room is the rich because you have a good job and you come to work. And those are the people. So when you start poking the finger about let's get the rich, you better.
Yeah,
you
they got
better
Mark
analyze
Cuban, they got Jeff Bezos, they got.
I heard Mark Cuban wanted a job with Trump. I heard that he was putting in a bid for that. That was
For what?
weird.
Did the
I don't know. I don't
did the White
remember.
House need a janitor?
I don't know, but I just think, wow, it's just interesting to me that you can be so abusive as opposed to disabusive and then turn around and ask for a job. Wow, that's just
I mean, he
gutsy.
spent money
yes.
on Kamala.
Yes, he was very
buying
clear.
in. I'm surprised he didn't have girl tranny on the
Well,
Mavericks.
With a guy with that mindset, are you sure you want to put him in a power position? Oh my gosh!
That's
the
just
only
terrible.
reason is he is a position of power is because he was very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't something that he dug in and he really did. He just was at the right place. at
Well,
the right
people who
But there's
have
something to be said for that,
yeah,
too.
people who have substance,
Yeah.
however they got it, they've earned it.
They've earned it, yeah.
time. Well, with
and
that
that's-
being said, so let's get them.
So Republicans.
They're saying?
No, so Republicans
Isn't
in
that what
the
they're saying?
if you're a young person in Republicans, right, you want to be able to buy a house. You want that's going to be you, or that's going to be your kids that make the money
Well,
that don't have to pay the taxes. That's how it works.
One of the questions that I just absolutely love to ask a liberal is the fact that why do you think you should be able to divvy up somebody else's money? What gives you that power and that power of thought that you have the
It's what Jan talked about earlier, that mindset. They think government's job is to redistribute money. That's their job.
That's my point exactly.
No, I'm just saying that's what they think it is.
That's my point exactly. And where does that come from? What makes you think that you have the right to divvy up Ed's money here? I mean, you come into a room, you say, Ed, I've watched your lifestyle. I think you should share more of it.
I was going to say, I'd be down there at the CARES campus. Oh, is that place still there?
Oh, my goodness. Well, we still have a few minutes. I thought maybe we would go through.
We did have, on a fire note, just saying that we did have a homeless encampment under a bridge in the south catch fire
Yes.
and burn
Yeah.
all underneath, all their belongings as
Right.
such, and the underneath of a bridge, and closed the freeway.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, literally closed the freeway, and that happened a couple of days before the Callahan fire.
Yeah. It's.
I mean, it's not very dense down there. Washoe County supervisors, double down. Let's have tall buildings down there and extra density. Seems like there's no fire danger down there this week.
There was an old analogy. I heard this or read this 30 years ago, and they said, if you take all of the money away from everybody and redistribute it evenly with all of them, within a very, very short period of time, you'd see the same hierarchy as that happened before you ever did it. There's a mindset why winners are winners. Usually a winner is because they have the mindset where they can do it, number one. Number two is they take the chance.
Our
and they do it.
country cannot work. I mean, I believe this, and I don't think the world can work without personal responsibility.
Well,
And
they
you
certainly
take
try it.
responsibility as a citizen to make a go of it and do your thing and hopefully find
Personal-
riches, but
personal
many
base-
do not.
Personal responsibility is not one of the planks in the Democratic Party.
No, they
It's
don't
not
have.
there.
Well, I think character is devoid in them, and that is one of the tenets.
So
So you want to take a look at some of our results? Should I share
Yes.
some of that? All right, let me get my
They-
screen up
How
here.
they let Trump win here?
Not yet. No. They've got Kamala ahead, I believe, by about point something percent in Washoe. But in the all of Nevada, he's got 50.6% and she's got 47.5.
She was a horrible candidate, you folks.
So we have the Senate, Jackie Rosen, the Democrat, at 47.9% to Sam Brown's 46.3%. And that only happened after the day of the election.
Well, right, and it's been 13,000 for a week,
Yes.
right? And it's not done.
Right.
It hasn't moved. That's BS. It is such BS. How can they show this, right? If you were like a corporate leader saying this is what happened, it's unbelievable.
It is
you
unbelievable.
know, I have to. We kind of just glanced over about Kamala Harris. I was very interested in to hear her concession speech, so we tuned it in and watched her. I thought she did a very gracious speech. I thought she handled herself well and she looked good.
I thought she was all word salad again, going for the funky feeling. Oh, we got to keep fighting no matter. But it was just word salad. It was the exact same she'd been saying. It was kind of harmony.
Well, and I was
Oh,
telling one of
my
you
goodness.
guys when we were on the break earlier that it looks like she's asking for recount money, and I've heard that she's in deep debt. So
yeah, they overspent. And here's something that
And what a shame.
Here's something that
had
cracked
billions.
me up. They talked about how much in debt she was, and guess what? Taylor Swift, Beyonce, those weren't free.
No.
They charged her through
That's
the
right.
teeth for
That's
that.
right.
They were
right, so
for
let's-
pay.
Let's go through this. So we've got District 1 is I'm just going to say Democrat, Republican, Democrat. District 3, Democrat. District 4, Democrat. Ballot measures. Oh, yeah, ballot measures. Let's do that.
Okay.
So we've got no on question 3.
Yes.
Yay.
And, you
We
know, it was
fought
pretty
hard
sub-
for that.
It was pretty substantial defeat too, putting it down.
Yep. And then question 7, which is photo ID,
Yeah.
73%. But I
Yay.
believe that's only the first time we have to do that again because it's a constitutional question. So
Oh, they'll be
yeah.
against that
next
next time.
year we'll be fighting hard to remind everybody to vote for this. And then question 6, which is the right to abortion. And they say right to abortion, but they have the right to abortion in Nevada right now. This is a right to a 9-month abortion.
Yep.
You can do it up to 9 months.
Right, and we just voted for that, folks.
We did.
Washoe County, come on.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah. So that's the state results there. So
It's ridiculous.
yeah. So
It's ridiculous.
That,
anyhow,
that makes us blue.
What
does not make us.
I don't know. And having the lengthiest term for an abortion to happen is about there with Massachusetts
Well,
as a
we'll-
blue state thing.
All right. So I covered the Senate. I covered the questions. We talked about the president. I think I did my job. I'm going home now. No,
Yeah.
kidding. All right. So yeah, we'll do a little bit more of this, and then I've got some tweets that I want to share with you, and some of the celebrities that said that they were going to leave, and maybe where are they now? And I thought that would be kind of fun to just kind of make fun of them a little bit. Right?
Yeah.
We don't usually make fun of people.
Well, how
but-
many people jump in
I
the
don't
train
know.
to Canada?
Yeah.
Right?
I just- I wish they wouldn't say they were going to leave. Any of them. That's just silly. Unless you're really going to do it, don't say it. That's
Well,
just
you know,
dumb.
the thing of it is you
That's
know,
just
somebody
dumb.
has honest plans, and they really are going, you know, for family or whatever.
Right.
They just find an opportunity to throw it out there.
So
It
don't you
wasn't
think-
that, you know, it was
It's just baffling to me, right? So you have like 2 individuals and 340 million folks, and they're different than us, right? I mean, in my life, really, there's never been anyone I chose to vote for until Ronald Reagan. Until Ronald Reagan came around, I didn't think government could work. Personally,
Interesting.
that was me. That's how dysfunctional I am. But he showed me it could work. And then the Democrats have been showing me ever since that it can't.
Well,
And so here we go again, I hope.
yeah. Well, and since I don't have time now, when we come back, we'll also talk about Trump's 10-point plan that he has that he talked about, I believe, within the last day or two. So he's been out there just, on the stump talking about all the things he's planning to do. And I'm sure it's making some people's heads blow off. But,
I think
hopefully it's going to be good for everybody because that is what's supposed to happen, no matter who you are.
Janice, I've never really ever thought this through. Not only are they going to be angry that he does it, but they're going to be angry because he said he was going to, and he actually does.
Well, and I'd like to see how many of the other representatives and I think we should have a scorecard for them. And there are some states that do this, that you keep track of what your representative said they were going to do and then score them, kind of like doing that
you mean
annual review.
The most bipartisan.
Yeah. Well, and whatever they
member?
said, whatever they said they were going to do, check them off. Check off the list. Did they do it? Did they do it? Did they do it? Nope, you didn't do it. So guess what? You didn't fulfill your promises. And yeah, there might be reasons, but you're going there to do the job and to represent the people, and they hired you based on what you said you
Well,
were
right.
going to do.
If you trick them,
yeah.
you deserve to be out.
I don't think. Well, matter of fact, the book that of Trump's promises is gonna fit in Ed's dictionary here. I mean, there's so many and so long.
Yeah. Hey, folks, we're going to take a short break here. We're not going to actually go off, but I am going to make us quiet, and we will be back to chat with you again in probably about, 8 minutes or so. We'll come back, but we're going to take a little break, and we'll see you in a few. Hey, 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 this is What's the Story? My name is Janice Hermson. I am here with Ed Knoll and Doug Ashby, and we are back off our break for our second half, and we're thankful that you stayed with us. We appreciate you very much. If you have any questions or want to make any comments, you can obviously do that on the platform that you are, or you can text us at 775-399-2888, and we'd be happy to hear from you.
I want to hear anybody's example of disabuse.
There you go. Yes. Did you understand what we're talking about when we talk about disabuse, our word of the day? Right?
Totally.
All right. So we were talking election stuff, and I'm not quite done. I do want to talk about some book stuff too, but I found a tweet from Beatles, and he is commenting that how is Sam Brown's race not rigged? And he gave 4 things everyone should be asking the Nevada Secretary of State and Washoe County Registrar of Voters office right now. I presume that he must have some data from the Washoe Registrar's office as opposed to just the whole state, which is why he specified it in that manner. Or just because he's here in Washoe. Maybe that's why. Who knows? I don't know. All right. So his questions are, number 1, where are the 18,652 votes in Washoe County? According to the data, and I know it's hard to translate this when you're listening, but 1,441,490 people voted for presidential candidates. Yet on the very same ballot, so we had 1,441, we have only 1,422 people voted for Senate candidates. Okay, does that make sense? Kinda?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never voted a partial ballot in my life.
Okay, so there appear to be either 18,652 ballots with only a presidential vote on them, or 18,652 ballots disappeared. Which is it? A hound count will verify all of that.
Are
right?
they going to do a Howard count?
Well, he's making the suggestion that we should go to the Registrar of Voters and the Secretary of State and ask the question. And I think it's a legitimate question. I don't think that, I mean, maybe there are all these people that vote just president, right? I don't know.
I don't know them, but I was going to say,
It's not likely, right, that that's the case.
I can't imagine that it is. And,
Yeah.
And I don't.
I mean, I have voted, I have omitted in my past, not recent, but in my past, I can remember saying, I don't know who that person is. I have no idea anything about this race. And rather than vote for one or the other, I'm not going to vote for anybody on that one. If there was none of the above, I just didn't vote for it, but not on the critical races.
Well, right. I was going to say,
You know.
if there's one candidate running, I don't vote unless I know them personally.
Right. Sure. Yeah, so I think that because of the kinds of races that they are, it's unusual and noteworthy. And why wouldn't the Secretary of State want to analyze that, right? Why not? And that's been the question for 4 years. So number 2, why so many none of the above candidates chosen in the Senate race, but not in the presidential race? So if you didn't like one of the candidates for the Senate, but you did like the president, that just seems kind of odd. Yeah?
Well, right. They're similar as you can look at the country and the results.
Right, and especially if
they
you're
pulled red.
If you're ideologically driven, then you're probably not going to like the president if you don't like that Senate candidate. You know, it's not necessarily in this particular instance, but a good possibility. So there are 41,740 none of the above candidates for Senate and 19,000 none of the above for presidential. 41,000 versus 19,000.
You know, Janice, what you're trying to do is you're trying to look into the minds of the public. And there have been super advertising people that spend billions of dollars trying to do that very thing. It's
No,
impossible.
we're
No,
looking at
we're
these
looking
as
at
not
data.
being possible.
Yeah, we're looking at data.
We're not looking at people. We're looking at data that can
Right.
happen.
Right. You are looking at people, but you're looking at the data and saying, how does this make
Who
sense?
does that? Like in a presidential election, who votes
you're
and doesn't
looking at
vote
the
for
people.
president?
You're correct. I'm not arguing that point, but you're basing it on data, not just on, gee, what does that person think?
No,
right?
no. What you're doing, you're using the data to say there's a question here.
Yes.
But to answer the question, you have to look at the people.
No. To answer the
no,
question,
we
all
think-
you have to do is recount by hand.
Yeah.
Well, we could do that. Yeah.
And then verify it. And if it's verified, then you say, okay,
is-
there are
it is
people
what
that
it
do
is.
that.
Yeah.
But they won't do that.
We don't have confirmation of wild and
Right.
wacky stuff.
Okay, next one. Number 3. Why the 70,436 vote difference? How is it that Harris and Rosen had only 3,083 total votes separating them, meaning Rosen had, and then he gives the numbers, 680,000, and Harris had 684. Yet there is a 70,436 vote difference between Trump and Brown. So Trump had 729,000 votes and Brown had 659. Doesn't make sense, right?
So
Why the
you're going to
huge
tell me
difference?
you're going to vote for Trump and Jackie Rosen?
Yeah.
Best I know, lightning killed those people.
Yeah.
Both of them.
So again-
both of them.
Again, the question is to the Secretary of State and Washoe ROV, how about letting us take a look at these races, do a little recount, and then you can put egg on all our faces.
Hey, best I know, we can do a hand count, start today and be done before,
Before
they're
they're
done
done.
counting. I'm serious.
Could be. Look at the graph. Oh, and by the way, I have had phone calls from friends out of state saying, what in the world is wrong with Nevada?
Right. And
What in the
my
world?
son, who's 20, there's very little bit of things that bother him. But Nevada being last or almost last with Arizona and being a mockery on the U.S. stage was insulting to him. He wants an attorney general gets answers like Florida and Georgia. Who doesn't?
Secretary of State.
Secretary of State, my bad.
It's okay. Look at the graph of, okay, so he had a graph that he posted on Twitter. So if you go to Beatles on Beadles on Twitter, X now, you can take a look at this and see the graph
Didn't we,
because graphs don't translate well
didn't
locally.
we during the last election watch what's taking place here took place nationally?
Yes.
Right? And is so vivid in my mind
Yep.
to see the distraughtness of Democrats. I was joyous. And then by the end of the evening, that had turned around. Right?
Yeah.
And the same here. The later we go, Sam Brown hadn't gotten a vote in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Jackie's going.
Yep. Kind of like what happened with Biden, right? Okay, so explain to us all how in the living expletive are these votes married together at the hips unless the data is completely manipulated? Look at the graph, look at the numbers, so go online to look at the graph. You'll see they are impossibly linked together, and even through the manipulation, Brown still leads until 11-7. 2 days after we quit voting. When another bump occurs, a hand count will verify if this is manipulated or impossibly accurate. And so really, asking for a hand count so that we can look at the data and confirm. I mean, everything is trust but verify, right? So if you want us to trust, let us verify. That's really the key.
I think there's maybe a big plan on keeping K through 12 down, because if you can't add, then you can't tell if they're cheating.
So this goes to, and we may have our New York Times people come back and all the AP and all the rest of them, because he says, send to the county commissioners, there is no way to certify this election without a full-blown investigation. And you know darn well if the Washoe County commissioners refuse to certify, that they'll all be up in arms, they'll be going to the Supreme Court, they'll be yelling and screaming about how this is so wrong and that their only job is to do something ministerial, which is incorrect if you look at the statute. Just go to the statute, look at it, you make your own decision.
So there's a certain level of competency required. And I think in recent years, folks have run for office and won and celebrated that win instead of doing the work of the people. In this state and county, I see that pretty regular. We got to get back. When you get those jobs, people count on you. It's not time to party.
Well,
Hillary.
I don't think most people go into it to do the will of the people. I think they go in there to make money. Look at all the politicians. How much is Biden going to be worth when he finally retires?
He's a crook, though.
Oh yeah. But I mean, you name it, it doesn't matter. How about LBJ? I mean, you look at them. All of them are very, very wealthy when they leave.
No doubt about it. You know, whether they're attorneys and have firms, or in the day, they used to write a book and make enough money to survive, right? I mean, that kind of thing. Now presidents have libraries, and the amount of money spent is just ginormous.
You know, Hillary wrote a book, and I think they paid her $2 million or $1 million to write the book. How was her book sales doing?
No, I don't think that she even met her, whatever they advanced her. I don't think that she met that. A lot of celebrities do that, though. They don't even make the advance.
I'll write a book if they want to pay me $2 million. I'll find a way to write that book. I wasn't going to.
Well, I did write a book. I'm just waiting for the millions.
You got to wait for the offer. You can't write the book first and then get the offer. You got to wait for the offer.
It's true. All right, so let's talk about, we talked about accountability and wanting to say that if we're going to have these representatives come out here and we vote for them, and they go into Washington or to our state assembly or Senate, and we need to keep them accountable. So in Trump's case, here is his 10-point plan. So the first thing is remove rogue bureaucrats. I'd like to see how he plans to do that, right? I mean, and how do you define rogue? I mean, this could get very complicated. I think it's way too generic. That's my personal opinion.
It is, but I think hanging works.
Dear. Okay, that's
but
Ed
again,
Knoll,
so
not What's the Story, Ed Knoll.
He's talking about the administrative overreach and those mandates and those folks.
That's your interpretation. That's not what he said. He said remove rogue bureaucrats.
Right, but those bureaucrats were driving their agencies beyond the law, in my view. The mandate people, right? We're talking about the FBI. We're talking about the NIH or the CDC and... Right, we can go Homeland Security. Sure. We can go every one of them.
Absolutely. I think number 2 is a little better. Remove as far as understanding what the intent is. Remove weaponization of national security and intelligence. Yeah. Well, we've all kind of, as people who have been vocal about what's going on, we've all kind of like looked over our shoulder to see if the FBI was walking in the door or somebody to tell us we were domestic terrorists. So I can kind of relate to that. Right.
It's just crazy to me that people in government can't keep a secret. Right? It's the same as us keeping a secret. That's all it is. People doing their work.
Are you kidding me? We never divulge things. Oh, maybe we do.
I'm just saying it. I mean, people. I guess maybe they need to be altruistic, right? Maybe that should be a word of the day sometime. People have to.
We haven't used that one.
I don't
think we have.
I don't know.
Oh, that's weird.
But people need to choose work because they're called to it and do it, right? To me, people are choosing it because like Doug said, they profit.
Yeah, that's true.
And to me, I haven't seen Trump's the last person for the people. He's the person who doesn't need it. Best I know, every other president needed the money or could use it.
Well,
it's true.
I don't think you talk to the wealthiest people that you want to. They never have enough money. And
No, I'm with you there. However, to choose to be president and, be ridiculed, be thrown in court, be like having the press, all these things said about you
Shot
that
at.
aren't true.
Yeah.
And to maintain any kind of cool or character, I'm not that good.
All right,
do
so
you
let's go
know-
on to number 3. Number 3. I need one of those, like, that little
No, we
button.
said no on 3.
Number 3 is reform FISA. So FISA being the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, and the use of it against President Trump was pretty severe.
Well, those phone calls, the one end of them were in the U.S., were, we think should be warrantable
Right.
calls. And
So-
they weren't, even
so
though the
reform
bad guy
FISA.
was outside.
Yeah. All right. Number 4, publish documents on deep state spying censorship. Oh, I kind of like that. You don't like that?
So he's going to censor it?
No, he's
Or
going to
is-
publish the documents on the deep state. Come on.
That's a double negative, isn't it?
So that's like, is he going to release the alien information from Area
Ooh,
51?
he doesn't really care about that.
He
Said.
doesn't.
No,
He's not into it.
Nah, he's not into that.
But
whole thing.
Elon might be. Right? Elon's obviously into the space thing.
Well,
Could
wait
very
a
well be.
second. I've got it from a pretty good source that's what Trump is an alien.
Ah, you saw that on one of the social media sites, didn't you?
What was he? He was born in Caracas or something?
How about number 5? Crack down on government leakers and fake news.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Oh, that'll be a tough one.
So I just think that's undefinable.
Exactly. I
pretty
agree.
much.
I agree. All right. Number 6, inspector generals to keep their agencies in check. These are really generic.
But in this case, he's the boss.
Right.
Those folks work for him, so they're accountable to him.
Right.
If he holds himself.
Sure.
Like Biden didn't hold anybody. Did Biden, and this is a great question, but did he fire anyone? In
I don't-
4
you
years,
know,
I don't think he fired
I
anybody.
don't think so.
He's never been
I
dissatisfied
think
with
people might have
anyone's work.
resigned, but I don't think that he fired.
He
anybody
hasn't.
that I'm
I mean,
aware. Yeah.
and I get being nice is a thing, but you got our government to run, man. If they're not good, get them the heck out of there and get somebody good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, number 7, independent auditors. Well, in what sense? I don't know what we're referencing there.
Hopefully, Washoe
How
County
about election
voting.
election integrity?
Washoe. Well, I think that falls under that.
Yeah, it should. It should. One would hope, right? That would happen. How about number 8, downsize DC? So
Absolutely,
Washington
yeah.
DC gets downsized.
That should be number 1.
Okay, there's Doug's bid. Make downsize DC number 1 instead of number 8.
Yeah.
So they need to change the dynamics of D.C. I think they should make Washington, D.C. like a national park.
It is.
Well, I mean, it's
what it
obviously
is.
not. There's more car thefts than any other park in the country. I mean, right? It's a dangerous place. Their football stadium moved out of Washington, D.C. because it was too rough, right? They got to, get control back.
Yep, I agree with that.
Well, how
Oh.
do you do that?
Make it a national park. Put park rangers in there 24/7.
No, it's if somebody breaks the law, you punish them. Don't say, well, we're going to look to see where you live, and you've had a bad childhood, and if you break the law, you punish.
I know, but Washington, D.C. is a special territory and has its own rules like a state. So their rules are blue.
Their rules are blue. What does that mean?
See.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we haven't talked about the Hispanic vote.
We have not. How about this is number 9, ban federal bureaucrats from taking jobs at the companies they regulate. There's a lot of that going on, apparently.
It's
And-
always gone on.
Yep. But they're talking about the possibility that maybe we should not let them take jobs from companies that they regulated.
I think
I just think that totally makes sense.
if you're in government, it does.
Yeah, it does. But who's going to enforce that? we can pass all the laws and rules and everything else you want, but who can
that
enforce it?
Ratcliffe guy, I hope.
Yeah, one can only hope. So I just saw something flash over my screen, breaking, and I don't know if it's really breaking. They all say breaking,
They
right?
do.
Pete Hegseth, a Fox News contributor and Army National Guard officer, was considered for several high-level positions in the Trump administration. I thought he was just appointed. He's named Pete Hegseth to be. Hold on, so let me see if I can find it. Charlie Kirk is putting this out. So apparently he's been appointed to something, but here we go. Nope, that's not it either. All right, so Pete Hegseth has been, breaking news, has
He's
been appointed to something for something.
Oh, hold it. I just got a text from Donald Trump, so let me check it
Oh,
out.
check it out. See if you can figure it out. It's on my Telegram, if I can get to my Telegram. But hang in there, guys. We'll take a look and see.
Oh, man.
Okay, it's my last one here, so hang on. I'm getting it. Statement from President Trump. Honored to announce I've nominated Pete Hegseth to serve in my cabinet as the Secretary of Defense.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know enough about that individual.
Yeah. Says Pete has spent his entire life as a warrior for the troops and for the country. Pete is tough, smart, and a true believer in America first. With Pete at the helm, America's enemies are on notice. Our military will be great again, and America will never back down. Pete is a graduate of Princeton University and a graduate degree from Harvard University. Army combat veteran who did tours in Guantanamo Bay, Iraq, Afghanistan. And he goes on and on and on. It's a long statement, but congratulations to Pete Hegseth, former Fox News reporter, right?
You rock, man.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. And then, so we did number 9, which was to get these guys out from working for the companies that they regulated. And number 10, I think you'll all like, term limits. And there is apparently a link here on my page to the details of this plan, which I am not going to go through. It'll take forever.
Love it. And funny thing, I wouldn't have thought it would have occurred this way, where it'd been a dominating thing and they're going to vote away power.
Right.
Republicans, hear that, Democrats? They don't want all the power.
Well, it's got to be forced to have it happen because everybody says, well, voting is the term limits. No, it's not.
They got to get, you get like whatever, 12 years, right? You got 6 years. If you can't get anything done in 12 years, life's a marathon, man. Travel around the world or something, right? But if you're no good at doing your job, get the heck out.
I don't know if life's a marathon, but, it's because it doesn't feel like a marathon right now. It feels like it's short, right? As you get older, right. It feels shorter.
So you're like in the first 100 yards of the marathon, right? Where you start sucking air and you go, shit, I got 25 and a half miles to go.
That's funny. All right. So that's the 10-point plan from President-elect Trump. And so, well, let us know what you think. Tell us what you think.
People in the press aren't having fallout over the Heritage Foundations, like
Project 25. Oh my
Where's
goodness.
Project 25? I figured we'd be following that baby. It'd be sent to every home. It'd be like the Gideon's Bible in every hotel room.
And I do hear people talking about Project 25, and it is, I think, being followed through the Heritage Foundation because they're the ones who created it. But I haven't heard President-elect Trump embrace it at this point. Doesn't seem like Project 25's his deal.
Is he going to try to
He had Agenda 47.
Well, is he going to try to get transgenders and gay people and everything on his staff?
So you what? Are you?
I don't know.
I have a question. I think I have an answer for that. I doubt if you see any transgender, but you'll see loads of gay folks.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think the difference is not going out of your way to
do it.
No.
Yeah.
So if you got like a Santa beard, you don't wear a low cut like halter top to work. I'm just saying it doesn't work.
from the nutrition fashion minded Ed.
You know what? They used to remember way back in the day, we used to talk about, like office disruptions.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
No, I remember working for companies, and you'd have these different guidelines because little Molly over there was
Right.
coming in her low cut whatever, and they're like,
Right.
oh my God, the men can't get anything done. Sorry to be sexist, folks, but that's the way it works.
And I need to comment on MAGA, right? The press still is like, oh, they're conservative, MAGA. Blah. MAGA's like 1980. I mean, I was alive then, right? 1970, 80, 90s. That's what we had.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't way out, best I know. We had some gas challenges, but we're drilling now. But I'm just saying, MAGA, that, to me, I embrace that like a chicken fried steak.
Janice, I was in a position, this is when I was a captain with the fire department, me and 3 other captains, we were put in a position to write rules and regulations for those things that you had just mentioned. We didn't want women in this environment to wear their top, their blouse unbuttoned to their belly button.
Sure.
So,
Or the crop tops, or the
Or
whatever.
guys to wear chaps with no underwear.
well, oh, sure.
That
Sure.
happened.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be equal to the sexes.
Where I was headed with this is we found out it was almost impossible, and especially in today's work environment where everybody has a voice. One of the things that we thought we put some pretty good regulations out there, and like with a blouse and
Sure.
and underwear and things like that. When we published that, we always had a woman out there that would say, "You gonna come check?" So, I mean, there it goes right there.
Right.
How do you
You can't
these
enforce it.
things?
Yeah,
so-
exactly. Well,
But what it did do is at least it did for me. I knew who I couldn't get into the elevator alone with.
It sounds to me like halter tops and chaps are back in.
Yeah, but I didn't want to wear them anyway.
Well, not at the same time. Right, I don't know.
oh my goodness gracious. So I thought that it might be kind of fun to do something a little more light hearted rather than, wow, that was pretty lighthearted what we just did, I think. I don't know.
That was highly entertaining.
Which search engine should I use? Should I use Google or should I never use Google.
I don't know.
but-
Best I know, the only thing's more biased than our media is like our search engines.
Well, I thought it would be
Well,
fun.
and maybe Trump can tackle that. They should not give them government allowances if they aren't going to abide by government
Well, if they're
rules.
paid by the government, they got to act by government rules.
Well, I thought that because of what we're going to be doing, it's about celebrities. I thought Google might be a good search engine to use to do this because they're going to know it all.
They're
right?
kind of celebrity oriented.
They're celebrity oriented. So, so this article is from Tom Norton. It says, it was published November 8th. Did this huge list of celebrities promise to leave us if Trump won? And he's saying some of them did, some of them didn't. But I just want to go with, like, we're going to say they all did. And we're going to see where they are today and what they're doing. All right. So you can read the article yourself. It's a Newsweek article. Like I say, Tom Norton. Sorry, Tom, I'm not going to read your whole thing here, but I'm going to just talk about the people that said they might leave. Alec Baldwin is one. So let's check out, where is Alec Baldwin today?
Well, not that long ago, he was in jail in Arizona for shooting that gal, right? I mean, they threw that out, so he's free.
Oh, he left the courthouse. So I said, Alec Baldwin, did he leave? I probably should have said, did he leave
The country.
the country? Yeah.
It looks like he was
You know,
allowed out of the courthouse.
And that shooting that he was involved in, had it not been Alec Baldwin, it never would have gone as far as it
Well,
did.
here's the article I was talking about. It popped up right away when I said, "Did he leave the country?"
Taylor
let's,
Swift. Tom
yeah, let's
Hanks.
do leave the USA. See if something else. Nope, it's gonna give me the same thing. So this isn't gonna work, is it?
They're not. They're already manipulating the information, right?
Oh, where is he now? How about that? Where
You know, we
is
need
he
we need
now?
someone like Elon Musk to.
Here we go. That's what I wanted. I wanted AI to tell us. All right. He's continuing to work on several projects and is currently in the midst of a trial, but I think his trial ended, didn't
Yeah.
it?
What's the date on this?
The article is from before, but apparently AI is living in the past.
Yeah, because he got cleared. Of
That's what
that.
I heard. Yeah.
They threw it out.
Yeah. So AI is just a little bit behind the times. And here I thought that Google would be my best
Well,
bet.
and I thought AI
I
was
thought-
better than the rest of us. Looks to me like they're not better than What's the Story.
We ought to see if Elon Musk can lease a 747, park it either in New York or L.A., and say, all of you people that wanted to leave this country, I'll give you a free ride. Come on down, get in, and we'll take you wherever you want to go. See how many show up.
Okay, so I asked about Whoopi Goldberg. I may have to try a different search engine.
Oh, what
'cause
are they moving the broadcast of The View to like Caracas?
I
or
said, where is she
Cuba?
now? Goldberg is on the board of selectors of Jefferson Awards for Public Service. She also serves on the National Council Advisory Board of the National Museum of American Illustration. So that's what you can learn about Whoopi Goldberg besides being on The View.
Well, I was
right?
going to say, if you're leaving the country, can you be on The View?
Let's try Bing, right? Maybe that'll work.
Maybe The View will invite us. Could you see us on
Wait
The
a
View?
second. Well,
I'm
can-
excited.
Can we have a poll here? Have you ever watched The View?
Of
I've
course,
watched
I've seen
parts of
segments
it,
of it because
yeah.
it's newsworthy when like LeBron James or Biden or Camilla or President Trump, who didn't go. But
I've never ever watched it.
you know what? If J.D. Vance went there, he'd have them eaten out of his hand. It had like about half an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Where is John Legend now? He is set to perform pieces from his new album at the 74th Primetime Emmy
he's in Las
on
Vegas.
September 12th.
Oh.
So we're also getting a past here.
Not
Right?
current.
This is Microsoft Bing because I changed search engines because I thought, well, maybe we get something better out of Bing, right?
And Bill Gates is
Not so
dodgier.
much.
Yeah.
Not so much. What a shame, huh? Maybe I should say, let's try 2024. Maybe it needs a little more definition. Huh? North America Christmas Tour is scheduled to be held from December 2nd to December 21st, 2024 in venues across mainland US.
United States.
Yes, so he's sticking around.
So he lied.
Nah, he's not going anywhere.
Not only did he lie, he's making money on people. Right? I mean,
At least we got something a little bit better. All right, so let's do Barbara Streisand. Good old Barbara.
Oh, she's not going anywhere.
well, she's got to be getting up there.
She is. I think she's.
I mean,
80 or
and
something.
she was never a picture of health, I don't think.
Oh, my.
Wow. I hadn't laid eyes on her in a while.
No, I had neither. Oof.
I think Doug was talking to her with that halter top.
Yeah, she wouldn't pass. Would she?
Yeah, I think she'd probably be better off with the chaps, too.
Well, this is from February of 2023.
2020. Oh,
I'm sorry, 2024.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's just about her memoir there, but nothing current. Jennifer Aniston presents
Ooh.
Barbara Streisand with something.
Wow, this is kind of like I've never seen
Oof.
this before. I'm serious. Looking like scrolling down through like
Oof.
stuff. I never like.
Oof, I know. I don't ever look at this stuff either,
I
so it's
don't
kind
either,
of.
but
I just thought it'd be fun to
It's
do
just
something
kind of
different.
a reminder as to why I don't.
There you go. Well, let me look at what we got in the way of time here. Okay, so we've got another less than 20 minutes. You want to go to Book Blast or you want to do one more? Let's do one more first.
Okay.
Who do we want to do? We got Rob Reiner, Cher. How about Cher? You want to do Cher?
Yeah.
No? Yeah?
I mean, she's kind of old too, though, now,
Yeah,
right?
she's pretty old.
She's
Pretty
70.
old.
I mean, but best I know, the Stones and the Beatles are up for
I
Grammys.
used to really like Cher, you know?
She was cool back before Sonny did it.
I know. What can you say?
I mean, they had their own show.
I got you, babe.
That's right.
Okay, so where is Cher now?
Do you remember those shows on the stage? or
Yes, of
what?
course.
I'm just thinking of the outfits.
So here we go. Yeah, her outfits would not pass your rules there, Doug.
Yeah.
No way. All right, we got Cher attends the Victoria's Secret Fashion Show 2024 on October 15th. They just can't seem to get up with the times, can they?
No.
None of these guys can seem to do anything with.
However, Doug and I didn't get that memo.
No.
It's true. The Victoria's Secret one? Yeah, I gotcha. Well, I'm letting you know.
Okay.
There you go.
We missed it.
Well, what can I say?
Oh, there's Cher.
Oh, with Trump? Nah, that ain't true.
Well, look at the backgrounds. They
I
look
know.
Like two pictures
I know.
together.
Singer and actress Cher wanted to flee the U.S. Oh, first one we got that
Yeah.
actually addresses our
But
issue.
backtracks. Oh, because of this reason. Let's see.
Oh, let's see what her reason is. I'm sure this is clickbait, right?
It's got to be kids.
Oh, let's see.
Grandkids
Oh,
for her,
there's an outfit for you.
I don't think I can wear that very well, but Doug might be able to take that.
Oh, well.
But I mean, I have to say that young lady is attractive, isn't it?
At least she is.
I
yeah.
mean, with like tortoise shell, like.
All right. Well, she's gone
things.
now. The iconic singer Cher had previously wanted to leave the U.S. if Donald Trump gets reelected, while citing the toll his previous presidency took on her health. Oh, I didn't know that.
How is that?
I don't know. According to Blast, Cher asserted in an interview that I almost got an ulcer the last time.
Almost.
Almost. I don't know how you almost get an ulcer.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that works for me.
I don't think that's a disease worthy of like relocation out of the country.
No, sorry. Yep. So while indicating her serious intent to flee if Donald Trump returns to power, Blast reported the pretty recent developments have eventually led her to reconsider the certain stance
That looks like some I'd write.
to her committed relationship. Ugh.
You know,
With 38-year-old Alexander A.E. Edwards, alongside whom he is parenting.
I told you it was kids, right?
Yeah, you said younger, but oh man, 38? That's young. She's 70 something, isn't she?
So come on, guys. I mean, I don't care who you are, and you know, well, Jan and I had a discussion
Oh, we
last
had
week.
this
Remember that talk? I'm gonna tell you, there is no chick that's 76 that's hot. I'm sorry. I'm just no guy either. But I'm just saying, if you're a 38-year guy dating a 76-year-old chick, you might have issues.
This is a very different what's the story today.
We've gone mainstream, right? We're going with Republicans. We're taking over the
My
airwaves.
goodness. Oh my
she's
goodness.
78.
Well, 40 years. What can you say?
There was a time when I said there are no hot 50-year-olds. There are for sure hot 50-year-olds, but there are no hot 78-year-olds. I'm just sorry.
There's a
I mean,
rule,
people.
There's a rule about hole digging, and when you're in a hole, quit digging. And
Yeah, but you know what? Though what? I got no conscience behind me. I got no noise when I go home. I got no noise.
That
right?
was what we were talking about. That was exactly what we were talking about.
It's the way all people should be, free to voice their true thoughts and concerns
So that's
without
our-
repercussion.
That's our little segment on
That was
the celebrities.
That was President Trump's item 11.
you know,
That's pretty
Cher has
funny.
had so many facelifts that
Who?
that
Cher.
Oh.
the bump on her chin is her belly button.
Yeah, I'm not an elective surgery fan.
Yeah.
No, me neither. Me
Oh
neither.
man.
Okay.
You can flip that statement that she made around. She says if Trump is elected, she is going to leave the country. That might have motivated a lot of people to vote for Trump.
I don't know. Cher's a lot of things, but I never saw her as like,
Sex symbol?
no, pain in the tail or like, someone to avoid. She's just kind of innocent. I mean,
just
innocuous. Yeah.
She's just Cher.
I mean, she's 78 years old.
She doesn't perform anymore.
Right.
So,
I mean, her her Showtime honey hit a tree at Tahoe and bit it.
Yeah.
Right. And he was mayor of Palm Springs.
Yep.
I mean,
No, he was a congressman there.
but
He was also the, before
mayor.
that, he was mayor.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I didn't know we were going into Cher's like biology.
You know Sonny and Cher were supposed to be grand marshals of the Rose Parade. You remember that?
No.
And unfortunately, what happened is she wore a ring that flipped open, and it had a little bit of marijuana in it. And when they got hold of that, the news media, they said, well, they can't be the grand marshals of the Rose Parade.
So a ring popped
put
open
her
and
out.
weed fell out. I mean, this isn't like fentanyl, right? It takes
Yeah,
a
but
little
this
bit
was,
of.
how long ago was this, though? This was
that was
way
probably
back
this-
when.
Well,
When-
right, but what I'm
It's
saying is the
60s.
ring to have enough weed for any kind of potency would have to be as big as like one of the World Series
And-
rings,
And,
right? It'd have to be. That.
and Janice and I don't know about that.
I'm just saying it's not very logical. That was likely a cocaine ring.
Yeah.
All right. So the one thing that I wanted to do about books, that's time for awards, end of the year, and so they do different book awards. And so Goodreads has the reader's favorite that you get to good choice awards for 2024. So you can go through and you can go on there and pick a genre that you like and pick your favorite. So what do you have a favorite genre? You do, mystery. The more like a light mystery.
Yeah, books for me are more enjoyment, right?
Right.
Escape for
Right.
me.
Right. Doug, favorite topic for reading? What do you like? Do you like thrillers, mysteries?
Oh, no, I like, I would say history. And we've talked about this before, and I really give a lot of respect to the way Janice answered this question. When I put a book down, I like to say, oh boy, I'm smarter for it. And my wife reads mysteries. And when I put a mystery down, I didn't learn anything. Well, Janice said, well, that's not true. It takes you on a trip. It's a story that you can live through. I go, yeah, that's true. And I know Debbie really enjoys those types of books.
Right. And you actually, like, I remember a lot of the characters. I can think back to books that I've read, of some of the more favorite ones that I like.
Yeah.
And I can remember the story and I can remember the character. And sometimes when you're reading the book, you feel like it's another world that you're living in.
Well,
right.
right. If you're
And even
if
the
you're
Halifax
creative
and-
enough, you create. So the author's good enough to give you enough room to create the character. So you've created it, so it's perfect,
Right.
right?
It's true. Yeah, it's true. And you have that vision and you don't want anybody to make a movie about it because, gosh, it'll take away your vision.
I would pick up a book and it would be 1,000 pages, and I think, oh, geez, Debbie, 1,000. She says, are you kidding me? She says, I love a 1,000-page book.
Did you?
Because that way the authors never really die. You just keep living with them.
Well,
And
President
well,
Trump has another appointment. It's Mrs. Halifax, head of the FBI,
Yeah.
right? Another woman, and
And Ed's her assistant.
that's right. And Jessica Fletcher is.
That's
in
right.
it too,
That's right. The two of you.
That's right. Jessica Fletcher could work with Elon Musk. I think the two of them could unsolve
Yeah,
all
we
kinds of ways.
didn't get to the whole Elon Musk thing and all
Yeah.
that. Maybe we'll do that next week.
Jessica Fletcher. Oh, my God.
I bet
Debbie
he'll
is
be
so-
around next week.
He'll probably be here. Yeah. I'm figuring he's going to hang out for a while. So let's talk about our book for today. It's time for the book blitz. We don't have music for that, but
Okay.
let's talk
Would you
about
like
it.
me to hum something, maybe?
Sure, go ahead.
Go
And you
ahead,
can
Ed.
also give us a blitz.
Okay, all right. Do you want me to lead?
I do.
Okay. This is again, I try to do it with something that we've been talking about, and this is very, very poignant. And it's called Rig: How the Media, Big Tech, and the Democrats Seized Our Elections. And it was paper, but the date of it was June of 22. And I thought this is really interesting because Goodreads gave it a 4.5 and it had close to 3,800 ratings. But just let me give you a couple sentences from it. It was a devastating triple punch, capping their 4-year campaign to destroy Trump's presidency. The media portrayed a Democratic victory as necessary and inevitable. Big tech wielding unprecedented powers vaporized dissent and erased damning reports from the Biden family corruption. The Democratic operatives exploiting public health crisis shamelessly manipulated the voting process itself. Silenced and suspected, the American people lost their faith in the system. Now, this was 2 years ago. Now, fast forward today. That's what's so great about our system. It has completely debunked what the Democratic Party did. So this book is really,
What's it called? Liars, Cheats, and Thieves?
yes, exactly. And it was actually it was by Molly Hemingway, which is interesting. She was the author, and like I said, she had close to 3,800 ratings. But isn't it interesting how when June, 2 years basically, things have changed because finally the American public, and this is what you have to give them credit for, said, you know what? I'm tired of them lying to us. And they took it out. And like they say,
Disabuse.
yeah,
Well done. Well
all
done.
right.
All right, Ed, you got something?
I do not, but I hope Doug's right on that disabuse.
Yeah, I do too. Well, I have one that you might have already heard about. It's Melania. And that for me is a wanna read. She doesn't have it in audio, so
I'd
I
love to
haven't.
see her lifted.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the time when President Trump was president in the last session, she didn't get the credit that she deserved,
Oh, that was
and the
terrible.
yeah.
And
So
again was the
I'm
news
hoping that
media.
this time around that she'll get the notice that she deserves, and so
Well,
I'd
the
like to
same,
read.
I mean, nothing special. It's just the same as every first lady. Every first lady Democrat is like Queen of England, right? And every Republican is like your den mother.
Right.
They just treat them different.
But, being an immigrant, and Trump is so bashed for all this stuff. And here she is, an immigrant, and,
Yep.
and she's got a beautiful story just from what I've heard of it. I haven't, read her book yet, but I'm looking forward to reading that. And then as I look this up, amazingly, there is another book that was released November 7th. So just this week. Melania Trump, new book, 2024, The Life of a Remarkable Person. And this is by MTDT Press. And again, not on audio yet.
President Trump did mention it.
He did, yes.
He did when he
Yeah.
introduced her. I think it was on his first talk after winning.
Right,
Can
right.
I ask a question? That it's okay to sell books, but why is he trying to sell tennis shoes and t-shirts?
I have no
This is
idea.
the president-elect, and he's wealthy. What does he need to do?
So right, where do you Democrats just get people to give them money,
Yeah,
right? So they just ask for it and get it. So people who are business people and entrepreneurs can make stuff,
So be it, yeah.
gold tennis shoes for $15 and sell them for 300. They're raising money.
So
Yeah, but
interestingly,
the
this
thing of it is if he does do that, then he becomes an enemy. Oh, look at the money he has. Let's get him.
listen though, because I maybe just found something kind of interesting. This is an independently published book, 40 pages, So who wrote this? And that's why I was saying it was by MDTP or something, or yeah,
Oh, I know who it was.
MTDT
It was a fellow
Press.
by the name of Cliff Note.
I think so. So that's interesting. So I will wait and see if they come out with an audio for those 40 pages, right? See
Wow.
what they do.
If they
And
hold
here's-
it, I want to
hang on.
I want to volunteer to be a reader, just like that gal who volunteered.
$15.99 for this 40-page book.
Wow.
I'm thinking maybe that's not one I'm going to be reading.
I definitely want to be the reader on their audiobook.
I think it's interesting though. So yeah, I got caught. That's what happens when you just kind of glance and grab. So yeah, it's not something I'll probably be buying. So what can I say? All right. Well, that is our book blitz, and that is our show for today. And I thank you guys for joining me every week and participating in this little adventure.
Nevada's still blue, but we got great energy. We
he's
got
wrong.
it. We got energy,
He's
folks. We're
wrong.
gonna turn this back.
Oh, wait. Oh, what can I tell you? Yeah, we got something, but it's nothing. All right. We got something, but it's nothing.
I could say that.
Yes. All right. We'll see you next week. Please join us again. This is What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermson. He's Ed Knoll, and he's Doug Ashby. And we're glad you guys are with us every week. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Rock your week.